For those who may have gotten this bundle through, as you can see there, the Etsy shop, which I started not so long ago now. Yep, it's Etsy. That's my very strange looking banner, but very artistic looking too. I don't consider myself a muse. Artist, maybe. Maybe everybody's a muse. I don't know. So this is where this bundle will be. It's probably going to be called Kandinsky Rides Out, because that's what I came up with for the art. And I'll show you that here on Fine Art America. There it is, Kandinsky Rides Out. That's what I came up with. And then I have some notes here I'm supposed to be looking at. And the idea was I'll do this video for anyone who gets the bundle, but why not just put it on YouTube? They do a good job of hosting it. There's no reason for me to repeat all of their work. So just to quickly go over what's going on here. This will be probably on Etsy, but maybe on itch.io, maybe other places that I can't think of yet. But when you're on Etsy and you buy a bundle, some of these other bundles are going to get deleted. And that's my free book, which I put at 50 cents because they charge you 20 cents to put anything here on Etsy. Right away, you're in the hole for 20 cents. That's probably not a big deal for most people. But here you would buy one of these or whatever, and it's a digital download. So what a lot of people do, and what I'm going to do, because there's so many files, is you actually just download a PDF. Inside of that PDF will be a link, in my case, to Google Drive that has a folder that's shared with anybody who knows the link. And once you go in there, it will look like this. You won't see this stuff at the top or this side. You'll see something else. But there will be this file that I'm currently reading from, kind of. And in that will be two folders. One is the actual bundle where you get all these PNG files of high resolution. You can see by the numbers. And you also get the .procreate file for Procreate, which we'll see here in a second, as well as the .psd file, which you could use with Photoshop or GIMP or you name it. There's a lot of those programs out there for drawing and stuff. I also include the extras, which is the original artwork by Kandinsky called The Archer, or just Archer. I took a part of that out and kind of put it up on a place called Night Cafe. And then I turned it into an image using the words and evolving it a little bit, as they call it. But normally, that's not something you have to do. This was just a part of this little piece of art that I did. So I thought I would share that. But we'll get to that in a second. So back to my words here. I'm just rambling too much. But this whole bit is that, you have some idea and you want to turn that into something. It could be writing also, or whatever you do or like to do. But in this case, for me, it's collage, the digital version of collage, not paper and scissors and glue. And I was reading a book about Kandinsky's art, not so much about him, but his art. And I noticed something called the Blue Rider. I think that became some group or something for his. And that led me to another artwork called Archer, 1909, which I kind of liked. And it struck me. And the reason it's called Blue Rider is the horse is a blue roan horse. A roan, I believe, and the blue is referring to their fur, hair, whatever they have. That black and white are together in such a combination that in the light, it looks bluish. Different levels of blue. So I was trying to explain why, where, no matter. It's just, multiple meanings for the phrase ride out. Like you can ride out a storm. And in this case, he's just riding out on a horse. Normally I would sketch it at least stick figure like, but I won't show that. Everybody has their own way of getting going anyway. But once you get this idea and a bunch of words kind of pop out of it, you can use those words to do a search for public domain images in a bunch of places like Pixabay, Unsplash, Pexels, bunch of clip art sites. But ultimately, I seem to end up here on Google Images, and there's Creative Commons. If you click Tools, there's a Creative Commons setting, but you still have to watch. Sometimes non-public domain images end up in there. Whereas if you're on paper, like traditional collage, you'd probably have to go find your buckets of paper or a pile of National Geographics or whatever. So now we come to the part where we've gathered a bunch of stuff. We can probably put it in a folder somewhere for us digital folk. They often refer to that as ephemera. But what it is it's just the elements of collage that you've gotten together and you think those are going to work together to get something that you are trying to do or think will look nice. So it's kind of a design, art, I don't know how to describe it. But for me, in this case, I took the pieces from, I'll show this first. I took the pieces from some words and the horse, the archer from Kandinsky's painting, The Archer. Right here it is. Because you can give this, we're on Night Cafe now, which is an AI thing that can typically just take words and turn it into sometimes beautiful artworks. And this is a step you don't have to do, obviously. You can just go with all public domain, even though these are public domain, because you don't pay for this site. It's free. You get like 5 credits a day if you keep up with them. I'm up to 888. Wow. But that's what I started with because I wanted it to kind of look like that time period for Kandinsky because he changes later. So my prompt to the AI was archer on horseback, style Kandinsky, and use this image to guide it. And if you were to write all this down and go there and try it, you would end up with these 4 exact same images also. So it is repeatable, this. And it's out there on Night Cafe if you're interested. But what I ended up with was the 4th one. I like that one. The others got a little wonky. And so I upscale it, meaning it gets a higher resolution. And we will cut to the next part of this where I show you it in Procreate. So off to the iPad we go. Hang on. I hope. There we go. Okay, so what we're looking at is my final piece, I believe. Yeah. But now this is where I started. I will typically pick a color, and it can change as I do things, but I pick a color and start with that, lighten it, darken it. You know, there's these, if you go here, there's these various ways of looking at your color. One of them's like this. Like a wheel, and you move it around. So you've got the dominant color, the big circle. It's complement. It's, I don't know what the spice colors, whatever they're called. You get this way of looking at 4 colors at the same time that kind of match the big one in a way. So I'd done that, and I liked that color. So now I'd picked that thing from Night Cafe, remember? But you could have picked this image or images anywhere else. And so I brought this in and I started doing this with it. Just erasing wherever I could and stuff I don't want. Like, I don't want that. I don't want that. And you keep at that for a while, zooming in, of course, and getting really precise if you want to be that way. And so you end up, I ended up with, instead of that, I ended up with this. And the other 2 things I kind of move off to the side. I cut those out of the original picture. So now what we're going to do is we would start building this up into what I like in the end, or where I was headed or thought I was headed. All this is a little hard to say because you don't really have a clear path to where you're going in art. Now, do you? So I'd picked a background from somewhere, and I was like, well, that's okay. It's a little dull. What if I try to do some splash of color in the water? So I did that. And then, okay, let's bring in our Kandinsky on a horse. I did that. And it's like, well, he looks too flat or something. So I played around with blending and the colors and did a little painting in there in places with different brushes. And that's where I am. That's where I got to at that point. And then I said, well, I kind of like that moon and sun that was in the original. So I cut those out and put them in. So at this point, we have kind of reached the end result. I'll turn all these others off and the background off. And there it is. That is what I put up on Fine Art America. And as a part of this bundle, you get this as well as a nice big ping file. So the only step that would be remaining if you're truly an artist, I suppose, and you sign your stuff, is to have a layer with your little signature, or whatever you want to call it, and you stick it somewhere, like I stuck it right there. I tend to stay out of the main, what do you call that, the focal point for the art, wherever that is. In this case, I think it's him and the horse, and I just keep my signature away from there. But that's how quickly said I did it in Procreate. So let's go back to my notes over here and see where we are now. Okay, we've gotten past that. What we really just did was this part here with the elements, where you're laying stuff out. You might add, you might take away, just like you would with paper and scissors and glue. You change your mind. Start over, it goes on and on and on. What you might be kind of hoping for is what Bob Ross used to say, where just all of a sudden you're doing that and a happy accident happens. And you're like, wow, I really like that. I like those colors. I like this, that, and the other thing about it. So you feel like you're there. Now, can I tell you where there is or how to get to there? Not really. And that's what I'm saying there. What is it? Don't ask me. If I knew, I'd do it every time. But I don't know because I can't do it every time. So what we just entered here is something outside of Procreate and outside of anything. It's kind of the artist zone, I'll call it, where design, colors, movement, muses, coffee, head banging, whatever you got to do, is just come into the picture. So you're going to have to work through and come up with what you want in that regard. So I did the showing of Procreate, and I didn't show you how to share it, but that's a Procreate thing anyway, so we won't go into that. Share has kind of replaced saving and exporting almost. It's getting a little strange. So then I said, well, I like this one because I haven't put everything I've done, although I've put some things I shouldn't have up there. But you want to share it somewhere. Now, Fine Art America is kind of pricey, but their stuff is well done. Like if you get a painting or a canvas or one of those metal things, those are really nice. But I kind of doubt I would ever get a duvet. That's why the face is there. But these places, including Fine Art America and others, they seem to be able to print your artwork on just about anything. It's kind of amazing, really. And it often looks pretty good, even though I'm not uploading to them like a really high resolution image. So I'm a little puzzled. They must have some special stuff going on there, these printers. And I say, yes, I bought some of my own stuff. Good grief. But I did, and it's nice. So now you'd be at that point where you've distributing and you want to share. I say share, but some of these will cost money. Fine Art America costs money. Etsy, you start 20 cents in the hole, so you got to charge something. But I will probably also put this whole bundle like thing on itch.io, which is a recent site for me. I discovered it recently. It's like a place where you don't have to, but you can start at zero and have people name their own price. Maybe they think it's worth $1. They come back, they give you $1. Maybe they don't, you never get anything. But at least you're sharing and people get to see, and I think possibly affected by. I think that's the most important part of this. But anyway, so this bundle, as seen over here, or as will be seen over here, comes with some JPEG files, like the ones from Night Cafe, the AI, but the background one would have been from somewhere else as a public domain image. It also comes with the Procreate file. If you're a person who has an iPad and Procreate, then you could start right there and add to it, take away from it, whatever you want to do. It also comes with a PSD file, which is great for people who like Photoshop or GIMP, or you can keep naming those for an hour. Also, it's got one special ping file in there that shows a screen copy of the Procreate canvas information, because I think it's like 18 inches by 12 inches, 300 dpi, but that's a screen capture so you can see what it is. And that's kind of implied in the .procreate file. But this, in case you're not using .procreate file, you can see it in the ping file. I am not sure it's in the PSD file. I'm not sure it forces you to stay the same size. I don't know all those programs. And then, of course, the big part of it is the collage elements. That's kind of what you're after if you're a collage person. So you get a bunch of high resolution, possibly too large, .ping files. And those can obviously be printed on paper and cut with scissors and glued with glue. Or you can find some way to use a digital app to help you create a digital artwork, digital collage artwork. You might even be able to use Canva. I can't write on here. But Canva, like canva.com, the free place, that seems to be increasing their abilities every day practically. So I believe I covered everything. Let's see how long that is. Yep, that looks about right. And let's go back to, where would we go back to? A reminder that that's what the bundle that you download. I'm not doing any zip files because you can pick and choose, and I can't imagine that .ping files would compress well, so it seems like a useless step. So that's what you would see when you get there. A folder called bundle, a folder called extras, this file that we just read through, and it's the bundle one that you're really after. The others just, if you're interested. And that, of course, would be coming from here, which isn't here yet because I need to do this video first. So that is an explanation of what's going on here. And in addition to referencing this and the bundle that you get from Etsy, I'm going to put this video on YouTube because it's a good place to put videos, and I can share at least this much with everyone. So with that, hopefully I didn't miss anything this time. I will say enjoy and peace. Peace.